I'll give you an example. My old construction manager told me when he started in the industry, his first few weeks, the people, and this was probably 35, 40 years ago. But the people on his job that knew how to, the journeymen, the masters of the trade, they would tell him, we're going to break you. You're going to quit. Matter of fact, we're going to give you the worst to do. We're going to have you install an insulation for the next 6 months just so you quit, you know? And it really made it an industry where only the strong survive. And they did. But at the same time, we don't have that luxury anymore. You know, another thing we would do is we'd say, hey, we're gonna let them push a broom for 6 months, push a broom for a year, or even the culture in the industry. Well, you could talk to people with disrespect, or you could treat people less professionally than other industries in the construction industry. And so we pushed very articulate, very intelligent people, or people that had high esteem out of the industry. So we really did ourselves a disservice. I don't think we have the luxury of doing that anymore as an industry. I think we have to reevaluate the culture of the construction industry. And I think we need to look at what works. Yeah, it's a physical industry, it's a demanding industry. Well, let's look at other physical and demanding industry. Look at sports, for example. I heard Tony Dungy the other day was talking about how when he was coaching one of his teams had lost an important game or something, and he told his team in the locker room, he said, something to the effect of it. I'm going to misquote it, but it was something to this effect. He said, if you guys are looking for a coach that's going to cuss you out when you mess up, you need to go find another coach. And that was his way of coaching. He didn't want to treat people so bad to get the best out of them. It was the opposite. He wanted to really bring the best out of people by encouraging them, putting them in the right situation, building them up instead of breaking them down. We talk about building and building and building, and construction is all about building. But the most important thing we can build is our workforce from a company standpoint. And I saw that cultural change in my previous employer. When I first started there, it was very much that tough, rough, love mentality. And I saw it change over the years once we realized, hey, there's a different approach we can take here. We can actually give people the right opportunity when we see the potential early on, and it's a win-win for everybody. It encourages that individual to push harder up front, and then we're also able to get a more productive individual that much quicker. So where you would have put the broom in a person's hand that could have done a lot more in 6 months, and you sat there and wasted him away for 6 months, now he's productive at 6 months. And we saw that. So, our carpenters could frame walls, soffits, acoustic ceilings, hang drywall, install doors. A carpenter journeyman could do that. What we were able to do with someone 6 months in the industry was make them productive at one of those facets. So, for example, framing a wall. Yeah, they might not know how to do everything a journeyman knows how to do, but they could get as productive as a journeyman in one of those components. And all of a sudden, you're paying an apprentice to do the same exact job that you would be paying a journeyman. And that's what can happen when you really nurture and grow and evolve our talent the way our industry can do it. So again, that's just another example of where the obstacle that's there is really an opportunity. And I think our industry has an amazing opportunity to turn that culture around, turn that dynamic around. We can look at the sports industry as a perfect example of doing that. And that's part of what our K-12 pipeline does is we start students early. We're working in elementary schools with programs, getting kids interested into the industry, then going into middle schools, then going into high schools. We're also bringing our industry partners in for consortiums. We're bringing them in to advisory boards. They're hearing firsthand success stories from kids that have been in the industry now 5 years, 10 years, and saying, hey, this is what worked with my employer. And let me tell you what didn't work, right? So they're hearing firsthand those cultural clashes that are happening, and they're adjusting. And I think that's needed. We have to reevaluate the way our cultures exist in our workforce. And I think it's only going to elevate the industry over.